I want to discuss one verse from the weekly reading Bereshit, which we'll be reading, of course, this Shabbat, the coming Shabbat. And I'm doing this video a little bit earlier because outside of land of Israel, when else can I do it? After Shabbat, it will be already Parshat Noach. So outside the land of Israel, we basically don't have the week of Parshat Bereshit this year because we're going to be reading on Simchat Torah. On Friday, we're going to be reading Parshat Vizot HaBracha. And then already the next day, it's Shabbat. Everything is in a row. And of course, we don't use electric devices on Yom Tov and Shabbat. So therefore, I have to do this video now, even though we haven't read Parshat Vizot HaBracha yet on Simchat Torah. In Israel, they'll have a day in between. Since Simchat Torah will be on Thursday and Friday will be a regular day, what's called Isru Chag, the day after the holiday. And therefore there will be at least one day before Shabbat when people can read, can prepare kind of for Parshat Bereshit. But here outside the land of Israel, I live in America, there's no choice. I have to prepare these Parshiot already the week before, even though we didn't read the Vizot HaBracha, but Bereshit will be read immediately after, so I'm going to do this video now. A few words about Parshat Bereshit, in particular one verse that I want to discuss. Actually, one word in one verse. As usual, my videos are not a substitute for learning the Parsha. They're just discussing one idea maybe on the Parsha, on the weekly reading. So the verse that we say actually every Friday night, we say the verses of the end of creation, the day of Shabbat, Vayechulu Hashamayim v'Aaretz v'chol tzva'am, etc. And the last word we say is la'asot, Asher bara Elokim la'asot. What exactly does it mean la'asot here? How do you even translate this? That Hashem rested, Asher bara, from anything that He created la'asot, to do. What is this created la'asot? So I found a few different opinions in the commentators that I want to share with you. One possibility is, as Rashi says, that Hashem kind of made everything beforehand. Just like the people, when we prepare for Shabbat, we do everything on Friday. We do more just so that we don't have to work on Shabbat. We finish everything on Friday. Just like man was falling in double quantities on Fridays. So Hashem finished all his work just so that there will be rest of Shabbat. Therefore, he had to make sure he finishes everything up on Friday, kind of. So this is a kind of anthropomorphism that we use human terms towards Hashem. Hashem, of course, doesn't have to hurry to finish something. He could create the whole world in one moment without any difficulty. But Torah always uses the language of people, of course, human language. We don't have any other language. So Hashem Ki'ilu finished up quickly on Friday so that he could rest on Shabbat. Okay, that's a nice midrash, but what's the simple meaning of the verse? So Ibn Ezra says, and somewhat similar are the commentaries of Vilna Gaon, that Hashem created in order to la'asot, so that things will be done after what was created. Meaning there is a creation and then there is a doing from what's created. Ramban even more emphasizes this idea, that he says that Hashem created only on the first day. First there was a creation, and then there was doing from one thing from the other. The next periods of time were not creative activity from nothing, ex nihilo, but something from something. So on Friday he rested from both, from Bria and from Asiya, from both creating and from doing. Also Ramban says another possibility is that the word la'asot is going on what was said before. And that is, in a way, I guess in English we would put parentheses around the phrase in the middle, so that we understand that what's said after is going on what's before, meaning Hashem rested from, parentheses, everything that He created, la'asot, meaning He rested from la'asot. He stopped from doing, that's all. The simple meaning is He stopped from doing, mi la'asot, kind of. He stopped from doing anything else. And an interesting idea is brought in Sefer Ateret Torah, Ateret HaMikra, I'm sorry. It's a book that's a likud. He collects different opinions on different issues, and it's basically short questions and answers on all kinds of questions on the Parsha. And he writes in the name of Rabbi Chaim Volozhin, probably somewhere from Nefesh HaChaim, maybe from the first part of this work. Nefesh HaChaim is the magnum opus, is the main work, semi-Kabbalistic work of a great student of Vilna Gaon, Rabbi Chaim from Volozhin. Volozhin is a city in Belarus. So, Rabbi Chaim Volozhin, according to Sefer Ateret HaMikra, writes that Hashem kind of made us partners. La'asot is going on what the people will be doing, meaning he specifically made the world not ideal. For example, a person we know could be made circumcised. A man could be born circumcised, but Hashem makes him not circumcised, so we do the circumcision, etc., etc. This is a very well-known idea in the Zohar. It appears a lot that we're kind of partners. That Hashem created the world incomplete, and we do the tikkun olam. The rectification is up to us. I saw an interesting idea that Rav Adin Steinsaltz, I'm sure a lot of people heard about him. He writes, I think he said it in an interview. I saw it in Russian. My native language is Russian, and I saw it years ago, that he was quoted as saying that there was some dispute between various thinkers among non-Jewish philosophers and thinkers. For instance, Leibniz, the great mathematician, who around the same time as Newton invented calculus. So he says that there was dispute between whether our world is ideal and wonderful or the opposite. It's really a terrible world. Leibniz, according to him, I don't know much about Leibniz's philosophy writings. I do know a little bit about his mathematical writings, but whatever the case may be, he quotes Leibniz as thinking that our world is the ideal, the best possible world, and that other philosophers disagreed with it. And then he says the Jewish idea, I don't know where he took it from, by the way, that's the Jewish idea. Maybe it's from philosophy of Chabad. I think he's related to the Chabad. He was basically, maybe not very standard, but he's basically a Chabadnik. So probably comes from Chabad, his idea, but he says that our world is the worst that can still be rectified. The worst possible world that's still not hopeless. Meaning a little bit worse, we wouldn't be able to fix it at all. Hashem made the world as bad as possible, but something that can still be fixed. Something like this, he says. Very interesting idea. Now, at the end, I want to mention Ramban's words that are based on Chazal, but he elaborates on it further. And that is that this whole idea of 6 days of creation is a hint to 6,000 years. For example, the first day when Adam mostly was alive throughout the first 1,000 years, it's Keneged light. There was no idol worship yet. It was a good existence in a certain sense. And then the second day, the flood and the Tower of Babel, all these punishments, that's the day when there's no kitov, right? In the second day of creation, the split of the waters. And then the third day is Avram's time, and after him, the spreading of monotheism, and that's the land and the fruits. And then the next day, Keneged the two Meorot, sun and the moon are the two temples, he says. That's the next millennia. And then a millennia of dark ages, kind of, that's these sea monsters and creatures of various kind in the seas and oceans. And then the beginning of the 6th day, also continuation of the same, right? And now it's the animals that were created. But at the end, further on the 6th day, is the person created, and that's Mashiach, already the good times. So we'll hope, Bezrat Hashem, that we'll be zoche, maybe to live till the times of Mashiach and to see the closer to the end of the 6th millennia, the times of the sixth day. Now it's interesting. The Gra and the Khatam Sofer independently discussed the idea that the 6th millennia should be divided into 500 and 500 years, right? The 500 years is night, and then the 500 years is day. And it's only in the daytime that we divide it into hours, and something is happening every hour according to the Vilna Gaon in our history. So, for example, exactly at midday, when the hour switched between 6th and 7th, was the fall of the Soviet Union. That was a lot of evil that went away from the world. Exactly an hour before that, by the way, was creation of the State of Israel. And the next hour is going to end. Every hour is about 41 to 42 years, right? 500 divided by 12. So the next hour is going to end just a few years from now, I think 7 years from now. We'll see what will happen then. And maybe we'll be zoche to see really good things, I hope. And if you like this video, please press like.